In a world in crisis, can three idiots find hope in the darkest of places? Will love conquer all, or will hate win out in the end? This is a show called Hate.
Well, hello, and welcome to A Show Called Hate, a podcast in which we explore love, hate, and everything in between in search of greater meaning and perhaps a little perspective. I'm John.
I'm Nick.
I'm Chris.
I'm so glad I get to see your faces now when we record. It really wouldn't be the same if I didn't have Chris Ray and a crudely drawn smiley face on his thumb staring at me.
Instead of his face.
From Zoom. So
I resent the crudely drawn comment.
Yeah, it looks exactly like you. I can't really tell it.
That is me if I shave my head, pretty much.
Yeah, thumb.
Down to the blue mouth.
Especially that the ink you've chosen is sort of a turquoise shade.
Yeah, it was the first pen I could find.
Yeah,
and now it won't come off.
I thought you were going to say it was the first pen I ever bought, and I never parted with it.
I bought it 6 weeks ago, and we've been inseparable ever since.
You bought your first pen 6 weeks ago.
Never needed one.
No, they are overrated, I think.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Use blood. Cheers.
Yeah, Nick. Oh God, I do actually remember watching. Back when I lived at home, my family would occasionally put on like the Culture show because we wanted to feel more intelligent than we actually were.
Oh, that's definitely the way that you.
That's the only reason anyone watches anything highbrow.
It's a great way to get cultured is to watch something called the Culture show.
Well, for a long time, I was like, oh yeah, I am being cultured. And sometimes they talk about movies and stuff. It wasn't all like, but what does it mean? They would talk about like entertaining crap sometimes. But they did do a feature on a guy whose art involved painting pictures on walls with feces.
Yeah.
And I was like...
That's art, isn't it?
Or is it?
I resent that.
Nick, as an artist, could you tell us what art is?
Yes, please.
Art is essentially comics. And that's kind of where it begins and ends, really.
Yeah.
Anything outside of the bracket, I'd say broad, but others might say tight or niche bracket of comics, I would say is not art. But
she's saying
that's just.
So is every other piece of art a failed comic? Like they drew
I
one
think
picture.
Everyone's trying to make a comic, but it's like the thing about comics that a lot of people don't understand is that it's like lots of small pictures on a page rather than just one picture. That's the really biggest difference that I don't think a lot of people grasp. And so what a lot of artists tend to do is they paint one picture and then they stop and they're like, I've done it. And you're like, but you haven't, because comics are, sometimes 3 pictures
at least
on a page.
At least.
I remember like trying a new graphic novel once, but it was a really weird graphic novel because instead of being a book, it was actually like a really old building somewhere in Oxford, and all the panels were actually just kind of like spread out on the walls, and there were like lots of people in smart uniforms kind of walking around, and they'd stop you from kind of hanging out too long, and there was no dialogue. It was a really weird
strange.
Comic. Yeah.
No, I don't like the sound of that at all. That to me doesn't sound like a true comic,
No, and you didn't have to buy it, but you were kind of subtly guilted into maybe putting some money in like a donation box on the way out.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
That's how they get you.
These building comics, I'm not sure about these. But in true answer to your question, what is art? I have had many a discussion with Ali on this subject, because Ali is a firm believer that an art is anything that
I've done an art
that creates an emotional response in the viewer. So if you look at that smearing of shit on the wall and you're angry that man is making millions by doing that, well, that's art because you're angry.
The thing is, when I look at that smear of shit in the bottom of the pan, I do get an emotional reaction as well. I would not call every bowel movement a piece of art, though.
This is the thing. I believe there has to be a requisite amount of work. And whether that's talent or skill or time, whatever it is, I think there has to be some... Because this is the difference between, say, looking out over a beautiful view. I wouldn't look at a beautiful view in nature and go, ooh, that's art. Because that's just the world. The world's beautiful, sure, but is it art? Like, surely the difference is that someone did it, someone made it, someone put some work into it.
Well, yeah, Nick, okay.
Hello.
I mean, the blasphemy here. I mean, Odin did that.
Oh, shit.
That's his art.
That's a well-known fact.
and the world is his comic book.
Surely then, because I've seen some shit art, clearly. But then, isn't it good if someone
Chris Ray
thinks...
writing for The Observer.
Oh, it is though. It is. You know.
Everyone agrees. It's subjective.
The problem is then someone could turn around and go, "Oh no, that's actually very good." And like, what can I say to that?
Exactly. What can you?
Can anything be objectively shit in art?
Unfortunately,
or is it all subjective?
This is the weird thing, though, and it is something I've considered to bring as a hate before, which is like on Instagram, I might often see these tutorials, like how to draw an arm, an elbow joint, for example, and it'll be like, there'll be one drawing, and it'll be like a big red X. It's like, don't draw it like this, and there'll be another one, which granted is slightly more anatomically sound, and that's got a big green tick, and I'm like, but that other one, like, that could be stylized, that could be like cartoony or whatever. You might be going for something different, and so the problem with this is that no, there isn't an objective answer, annoyingly, but then I think sometimes people just draw really badly, and then we can go, no, that is a bad drawing. That's bad.
I mean, that Picasso guy didn't even put the eyes on the right side of the head, did he?
No. Yeah, it was all, oh, it's a person. You got to rearrange it for that
like
to actually become obvious.
Maybe you only get it like the moment you die. Maybe like you spend your entire life wondering what art is, and then...
I mean, I don't wonder at all. I know.
I hate to ruin the format at this point, but we do have a user hate that relates to what we've just been talking about.
I'll chuck it in.
So I'm wondering if I should chuck it in now.
Oh, I think you definitely
It's
should.
the Wild West, Rev.
Okay, all right, we'll do it. We're just going off script now.
I barely wear trousers
all of this
most
is
days.
all of this is usually totally scripted, obviously.
Yeah, we rehearsed it for
we've
days.
got one here from Daniel Gibbs. Gibbo,
friend of the show.
He says, I hate when people try and change your art. Story time. I did a GCSE in art, and while my teacher was a perfectly nice person, she had a couple of teaching methods that still irk me to this day. Well, you've come to the right place.
Yes.
The first was not letting people finish what they were saying. Frequently, I'd go to talk to her about an aspect of the piece I'd be working on, and partway through, she'd latch onto something and run in another direction.
Oh,
and then there were the times she'd physically draw or paint over stuff.
Oh, dear.
One time I was working on a version of my final piece for the year, painting away, and my teacher makes a suggestion, then takes my brush and begins to paint her suggestion onto my artwork. I did not like this. At one point, I had to get her to paint her suggestion onto a scrap piece of paper. But why would you paint or draw directly onto a student's work, especially if it's the piece that's going to be graded?
Very good, very good.
I mean, from a teaching point of view, that does seem like a good way to guarantee someone gets a good grade and you look like a good teacher.
Or at least a certain patch of the painting is really good.
But if I was in GCSE art and someone gives me a D, couldn't I not just say, I reject that?
Appeal.
I reject your criticism.
I mean, that's your opinion.
Yeah. D is your opinion. I think I got an A, so therefore that's going on my CV.
I have a lot of issues with how art is taught, I think. Certainly in the sense that when I was at school, that was when I was starting to discover, like, comics. And I wanted to draw in that sort of style. And my teachers, almost all of them, I went through a few different teachers across the time that I was, like, learning to draw this stuff or discovering it. And the exclusive, like, answer was never use key lines. And also, often, never use black. There was this idea that you had to paint in this sort of impressionist, expression-y sort of way, and there's never any truly black things in the world. That's not true, I don't think. But yeah, so key lines were forbidden. The use of black was forbidden, and of course, those are two central aspects to drawing comics. And it was just this idea that and I know it continues today because I've talked to kids going through school and stuff when they've talked, about my work at like comic conventions and stuff, and teachers are just blocking it all the time. But then on top of that, it's like, well, how do teachers decide what is good and bad? I
think one of the big problems, because I did art at GCSE and I wanted to take it further, but I ended up doing like the really sensible stuff, like science. I gave in, basically. I sold out.
Sure.
And there was a lot I liked about it, but at the same time, you're always, it's always like you've got to do cubism. You've got to do, like, expressionism or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's like, I do not care about cubism. It's so boring.
The thing, like, we had a really good teacher, and maybe this was only good, again, subjectively, because, like, I liked it. But in the early years, so, like, year 8, year 9 sort of time, we would learn the fundamentals of things like perspective, three-dimensional drawing, like creating grids, 2-point perspective, 1-point perspective, 3-point perspective, like, doing all of the stuff where you, like, construct images. And I thought that was really cool because that's not like forcing you to do something in a certain style, like pointillism, keyline, whatever. But instead, it's just saying, here's how you construct an image to look sound. And I feel like that's maybe an angle that art could work down a little bit. They don't do that at all anymore. Now it's all just sort of imitating famous artists and then like writing what you learned from copying Picasso or something. I learned that
you were never allowed to like just draw what you wanted to do.
No,
and
not at
I
all.
get it was an art lesson. It wasn't like a
Woo!
drawing lesson. It wasn't just like a hanging out lesson. But like,
I think a lot of people treat it like that.
But it's a good way of just like killing any enthusiasm you might have for it.
But that's the story I hear over and over again.
If you're good at one particular thing and the teacher says, right, we're moving on to the next thing, and you're crap at that, surely that, as you say, discourages any sort of individuality
Absolutely,
or any progression in the field in which you'll accomplish that.
There doesn't seem to be any understanding for developing your own voice in like high school art teaching until maybe year 13 sort of era. And at that point, you're leaving anyway, and you've decided you're going to just sack off everything you've been taught and do what the fuck you want, which is basically what I thought. I resolutely drew comics all the way through, despite the fact that we were doing different styles of media, and I just kept getting really low marks because of it. But I didn't give a shit.
Was your teacher always like, Nicholas, for God? I mean, basically, you were like, it was like Flash Dance, but with comics. So you're like,
Yes, it was like that. Yeah.
Nicholas, comics are banned in this town. It's expressionism or nothing. You're
I'm
like,
going to do it!
And you're like, I'll prove you wrong, father. I mean,
Sensei.
teacher.
I mean, whatever you are.
Oh, that's weird. And ultimately, they were right. Comics
The
are
really
shit.
annoying thing as well. Yeah, they were right.
Good
It's
for
true.
them.
Comics industry's garbage. You'll never make a living out of this, boy.
You
They were
really
right.
won't.
But
You never hear stories like that, do you? Like, people always told me I'd amount to nothing, and they were right.
and they were correct. Yes, Abby.
You never hear those stories.
But like, I had teachers who blocked my comic stuff or hated it or told me I had to do something different. And then when I like left school, finished, graduated university and everything, I was now one of those like kids who was doing something with art, which is like super rare in terms of like schools trying to get their alumni to like show off with what they can do. And so this art teacher contacted me out of the blue, and she was just like, I see you've been like making comics and going to conventions and stuff. Would you come to the school and do a talk? And I was like, but you blocked this.
Yeah.
Like every day you blocked this. And now you want me to come into school and tell your kids that the horizon is the limit and that you can draw whatever you want. When the instant I leave that room after telling them that, you're going to tell them to draw like chiaroscuro shading. Like, no.
Maybe,
I did go back and talk instantly, but yeah.
maybe though, it's a trap. Like, maybe you think you're being invited back. And it's like, oh, that teacher learned a lesson.
Yeah, she's
I
trying
can
to teach you another lesson.
Oh, no.
But you're going to come in and they're going to go. She's going to be like, oh, Nick, you know, I know we had our differences when I was teaching you, but you've taught me so much. And now, Nick, please teach these children how to draw cubism. And it's like, you look down and all you have is like a sponge and a pot of paint.
Yeah, it's like, I had a pen a minute ago. What the hell? I'm wearing an apron and I've got like an easel.
It was the same with English, if I'm honest. Like, I remember studying that, and like, we used to have to, occasionally, quite rarely in secondary school, I think if a teacher was just bored, they'd say,
Probably.
like, read, like, spend the last 10 minutes of class reading a book.
Wow.
And I brought a comic out
Oh
of my
no!
bag.
Oh, John.
And I was reading that comic, and I was really reading that comic.
Like you were reading the words and they were going
Yeah,
into
the
your
words
mind.
and everything.
They
Yeah,
were
I
good.
normally
I
just
remembered it and all sorts. I could read all the words.
nowadays I just skip over the words. I mean,
Yeah.
they're irrelevant, but
They are
I
the
remember-
least
I remember
important
the
part of
teacher
comics.
coming over and going, John, you know, can you put that away and get a real book out?
There's
This
a
is
lot of
real
this.
book.
Yeah, a
You
real book.
charlatan.
You fraud.
Yeah.
There is that sense, though. Like, I mean, the thing is, there's a lot of garbage in comics, but I would argue there's a lot of garbage in any storytelling medium. It is weird that comics get massively, like, you know, just, oh, they are trash. It is strange. Like, oh, you're just, I don't know, having fun. You're just pissing around reading a comic book, John. Do something serious. Read Journey to Johannesburg or something.
To be fair, John, it's not like you really had a reputation for dicking around in school, anyway.
Is that
Oh,
the
yeah,
So
most
I think they
rebellious-
probably could have cut you a bit of slack there.
They really should have.
Everybody gets one.
Yeah.
That was yours.
What were your experiences of art, Chris Ray?
Creativity.
Of creativity. Well, as you can tell, I did graphics at GCSE,
Okay.
which I don't really remember what I did. My art teacher's in prison now,
Ooh, yes.
so
Ooh,
yeah, this is actually true.
Really? It's nothing to do with you.
I'm not going to tell you why on this
Okay.
podcast, but I will at some point.
Wow. In that
But
case,
yeah,
I wish I'd
so
laughed now.
my last memory actually, because I did get a D in graphics at GCSE, and he came.
But if
up to
they're
me
in
and
jail-
he actually apologised. He was like, "I'm so sorry." I was like, "All right,
Really?
I mean,
Why?
what do you want me to say to that?"
Because he was like, because I failed you. Is that what,
Maybe
as a teacher?
Well, I don't know. I feel like I was quite a liked member of that class, probably because I'm such a winning personality.
You are. It's true.
Thank you. I was
It's
hoping
weird
someone
that
would
he
say it,
give
but
you a D and then
yeah, he came up and
apologised.
apologised. I was like, okay. I mean, I've got nothing to say to that, and I regret punching him now. But I was just blind with anger. Yeah.
I
No,
won't
that didn't
name
happen. That didn't happen.
I won't name names, but we had a mutual friend who went to the same school as us, and I believe in his final year he took art and he took graphic design as two subjects, and I believe he got an E in one.
Oh, I know you.
And-
I thought I knew who you were talking about. I
Yeah.
definitely know now.
He got an E in one and a U in the other.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
he stayed back a year to retake that year, and after a year of restudying, he got a U in the first one and an E in the second.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean that. Oh, I feel bad now. But
And his name was Damien Hirst.
yeah. And now he's the CEO of. Yeah. No, I remember that.
There was a kid in my art class who went on to be Damien Hirst's, like, I don't know, sidekick. What do you call it? Like an intern, I guess, or something. He basically worked with Damien Hirst in his studio for a while.
Oh, did he source the sharks? Like when
he
he
caught them.
was...
He was
Caught the
sent
shark,
out into
yeah.
the sea just like to wrestle a shark. For
Damien Hirst would like wrap a greasy rope around his waist and throw him off the back of his private yacht.
For
And then people will be looking from the cliff and go, "Oh, it's brilliant! It's brilliant!
Oh, it's art. Even this is art.
It's so postmodern."
Just swilling a Bacardi glass. Oh,
I always remember like art teachers not believing you when you said you were done, like with a piece of work. Like I
Yeah.
remember, like the task is you've got to draw. We were drawing like we were like copying pictures of like Greco-Roman statues or something. We were like trying to draw a person, and
draw a person if you can imagine.
If you can imagine
such
such a thing.
and I remembered like so many times I'd tried to do an assignment in class and going like, "Oh, I think I'm done. I'm quite happy with that." And the teacher coming over and going like, "No, you're not done. Keep going." I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to draw. I
Add a
don't know
bow
what-
tie.
I don't
Add a
know
bow
what
tie
add.
to it.
Thing is, I feel like if we did it now, we would say, "I'll tell you when I'm done," not the other way around. I'm in charge here.
Yeah, you're damn right.
Now,
Now,
back then, you were like, "Oh, okay.
I mean,
I
they used
better
to
just add some fireworks or something."
they used to teach us about the dangers of overworking something. But then they would be like, "Oh no, you're not done. You don't know when you're done. Who are you? What do you think you know? Fuck off out of my studio."
And then they embarrass you in front of the class. They hold up your work and go, "Look at this. Is
He thinks
this
it's
done?"
I can't.
Look at
I
this.
can't think of art at all in any way, shape, or form without thinking of the runes collection from another
my.
mutual friend of ours, which I think we may have mentioned on the podcast
Oh, I
before.
think you have. Yes, it's
But,
glorious.
I mean, we should probably try and get photos. It's hard to explain it, but we should probably try and get some photos of it and put it up on the Facebook group because it is something.
yeah, I
that's
think we
very
mentioned that in
special.
an early episode, like
Yeah,
1, 2, or
I think-
3.
I think we did,
talked
yeah.
about
Yeah,
that.
it turns out there are some things which are just so beautiful they can't be described in words alone. Like you,
I
have
wouldn't
to...
know. I wouldn't know how to describe it.
Let's just
Yeah.
say it was a project which was hastily thrown to... No, that's unfair.
That is
Hastily
unfair.
shat out the night before
The night before deadline.
of... I believe it was a GCSE project? A-level project?
One of those certainly.
It was a pretty important project, which a friend of ours put together in maybe 3 hours after...
I think that's being quite generous.
He got an alright grade, didn't he?
I think he got a D, which is actually bearing in mind what he actually produced is pretty good.
That's
mean,
technically a pass.
Yeah.
I feel that may have been down to quotas. I think they may have felt that, like, if we fail this boy, the class average will be
To
so
be
bad.
fair, as the teacher, you must be looking at that and being at least mildly entertained.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, to be honest, as much as the subject, the teaching of the subject is probably bullshit at schools, there's probably a joy to be had for being an art teacher and seeing the kids who don't give a fuck about art just giving you something. Oh, there'd be so much joy there.
Do you remember in RE because RE was the DOS lesson in our school, as we called it.
And that's why the world has no problems in terms of tolerance or understanding.
And someone was asked, I think, as a punishment, to write an essay on euthanasia,
Oh my god.
and they wrote an essay on youths in Asia. And submitted that, and
Brilliant.
the teacher, I think, had it laminated and put on their wall because they thought it was so funny.
Okay, sense of humour, that's good.
Still got an E, but you know.
Yeah.
Thinking back, it's amazing. I did learn a lot in RE. I kind of enjoyed it. I did like learning about the different religions, but thinking back, 90% of the lessons weren't actually learning about religion. They were learning about the Bible.
It was more about almost like philosophy, I thought.
Do you reckon? Yeah. I
remember we had a quandary about a lifeboat once. Who would you save out of these people? And you had to challenge the stereotypes and all that sort of thing.
It's like you're in a sinking boat, or you're in like a burning building. You can only rescue. You've got an old lady and you've got a young child, and which one will you save?
Yeah, and
Tell
it's
me
like,
why.
well, the old lady's old and she's had a great life, so she should die.
Then you go. Then it's like, well, I pick the child, obviously, and we go, but wait, what's that in the kid's hand? It's a copy of Mein Kampf.
And his first word was Heil.
Oh no, I don't know what to do.
I've saved the wrong child.
And that
I got
child-
my only detention in RE that I ever had. At school.
No.
What did you do?
The teacher had told the room to be silent, and we had to leave the classroom. So it was right at the end of the lesson. Had to leave in a single file out of the classroom in absolute silence. And I had either missed that the teacher had said this, or was just not paying any sort of attention at all. And my friend dared me to say "Have a nice day" to the teacher as I left,
What a dare!
which I did
What a
in
dare.
that sort of like. Yeah, I know, right? But he obviously knew the room had to be silent, which is why he dared me, the bastard. So as I said that, the teacher just went, "Detention!" So that was cool.
Did you not think it was weird that like everybody else in the class was utterly funeral silent?
You'd think
Think
so,
we
wouldn't you? You'd
noticed
think that would be a clue.
All you
One
could
little
hear was the
clue.
constant music in your head.
I never got a single detention on my own, sort of thing. I think I was involved in a class detention once,
Oh yeah,
but
I was
I
involved in
never
those,
got. I was a good boy.
But that was never my fault. The class
Yeah,
detention.
it was class detention. It was like, I just said, "Oh, fuck off, teacher," and then that probably cost me.
I remember once in my first year, so I was very fresh to secondary school, and I was very, very scared. Something went wrong with my biology homework. I can't remember what it was, but anyway, the teacher called us back at lunchtime, and I thought I was like panicking. I was like, for sure, I was going to get an after-school detention or something. And one of the other kids who was also in the same boat, there was a few of us, was a kid called Jamie Walker. I can remember this perfectly. And the biology teacher was called Mr. Walker, and he was like, guys, don't worry. He's in my family. He's a really nice guy. He's not going to punish us at all. And we went in, and it turned out that I think we got like maybe a lunchtime detention or something. It doesn't really count, But he wasn't related to him at all. That was just a lie. I don't know whether he felt like he was comforting all of us or what. Like it was just a lie for no reason at all. I just don't understand.
Did he not know that? Did he think that anyone with the same surname is related?
Maybe,
maybe
he
he
did
did,
genuinely think that. Maybe, yeah. He did turn out to be pretty, should we say, underperforming.
It's a nice way of saying it.
I wonder where he is now. Jamie Walker.
We had this one really weird classroom at secondary school, which was like really far away from the main buildings.
Oh, I know.
It's just this little kind of squat hut.
It was a science lab, wasn't it?
It was a science lab.
Yeah.
It was T14,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
I
it
want to
was,
say
yeah.
that's what it was.
Wow.
called.
It was the
memory.
only science building on its own, and it was nearer CDT than it was science. But it was also near the basketball courts.
Yeah, it was like
on its
just
own.
this little hut, Because I think once upon a time they used to teach people how to grow potatoes up there. Back when they had lower expectations of their graduates.
Time for potato studies.
And I remember we had one
Come on,
episode.
E.
We had one episode where this one lad, it was a regular Bart Simpson in like that kind of weird late 90s way, was kind of like, I can't even remember what he did. He was misbehaving or something, and he doubled down. Like, you know, normally you go like, it's like, Philip, sit down, stop misbehaving. Oh, sorry, teacher. But instead, it was always like, you can't tell me what to do. And he ran out of the classroom. And we thought, like, oh, he's gone. Like, he just legged it. But then the teacher tried to, like, chase after him. And then she came back in after a while. She was like, just get on with your work. And we kept seeing him out the windows. Because it had, like, 360-degree windows, and this kid would keep like running around the building.
He'll tire himself out eventually.
He'll come in for a nap in a bit.
And the teacher was like, just don't acknowledge him.
But how could you not? I mean, that's like prime. You know how kids just gather at the window when anything is happening outside the classroom? Like, that's prime distraction material. That kid knew what he was doing. He was an expert.
But it's the way that kids work. It would be like, hey, everyone, look what Philip's doing. And we'd all run to the window.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at him. This is the same mutual friend who did runes. Once hid from his teacher while he was supposed to be in class behind a vending machine. So we were all in the common room. And he hid behind the vending machine. And then his teacher came in looking for him because she knew he'd just skipped the class. And she goes, has anyone seen James? And we sort of pled the fifth. And then she looks around the side of this vending machine, and he just pops around like nothing's happened. And goes, "Oh, hello, miss. Is it time for class?" Good times.
What a hero.
Oh, my life. Well, format is king.
Yeah, we're only 27 minutes in.
Oh God. Okay.
Does anybody have a hate?
I have a hate.
Oh,
well, I
right.
actually have two, so I'm going to give you an option today.
Okay, I like this.
I
Choose
can
your own
either give you a
adventure.
hate relating to wildlife or football. Because normally I will run my hates past Liz, and she will tell me which one is better. But I thought I'd put it to you today.
Okay.
Well,
I'm going to pick wildlife.
Okay.
Oh,
I hate our local fox. Right.
He's such a dick.
So we have a local fox.
We have a local fox as well.
We have a local fox.
Well, maybe it's
What if it's the same?
It probably is the same fox, isn't it?
That hussy.
It's quite likely, seeing as we all live within 5 minutes of each other. And he comes in, poos all over the lawn, poos all over the decking. Tried to get in the house once. There's a video of him trying to get in the house. There's also a video of him drinking out of the neighbour's bird bath. And he doesn't seem to give a shit.
Well, he does. He gives you lots of shit.
I was brought up on the animals of Farthingwood and was led to believe foxes were noble creatures.
Yeah, where did that come
don't
from?
know,
Because they are dicks.
And if you watch Farthingwood back, I never realised Fox was a cockney. I should have seen it coming.
All right.
He was like, I'm Fox.
All right, it's me, Foxy. Let's fuck off out this wood because there's cement coming in. The tidal wave's going to kill us all.
But this fox is so brazen about what he does. And at night, because we have to sleep with the windows open in this hot weather, obviously, the screams are just incredible. It's not like it's not an animal scream. It's like a scream like he's fleeing ISIS.
That's the weird thing about foxes, isn't it? They sound like humans screaming.
Yeah, it sounds like
a baby,
like a child in absolute agony. And you're like, what the hell is that? And it's just this fox going, let me in.
Maybe like you have a much lower rent fox or something, because the fox.
Have you got a good fox?
We've got a well-behaved fox.
Like, our fox doesn't scream either.
No. What's wrong with your house? That your fox is terrified.
We probably shouldn't have locked him in the shed, should we?
You say like. When you said a fox tried to get in your house, I'm just kind of picturing a man in a fox suit putting his full weight against the door.
Yeah.
I imagine that it's a man in a fox morph suit.
You're thinking of like Fantastic Mr. Fox with his three-piece suit now.
What I'm thinking then is that on top of the fox morph suit, he's got a top hat and a three-piece suit on as well, but no trousers.
Yeah,
I just think that completes
he's Donald
the
ducking
image.
it.
So he's got like a waistcoat. And he's got like a coat. He's got like a jacket, but with tails, kind of like a composer or a conductor of an orchestra.
Yeah.
and a top hat, and he's just rapping on your glass with a little cane.
May I come in,
Let
good
me in,
sir?"
sir. Let me in.
Can I just say, you're describing what you're describing is that we joke, but that's actually terrifying.
Yeah,
that would
exactly.
actually be much worse. Yeah.
Because
There's nothing you can do.
Is it a man or is it a fox? Man.
Yeah. That's the problem I have every day.
Well, the thing is, like every night we call our cat in. So we open the back door, we open the front door, we do like a little whistle, you know,
Open
and
all
that
the
kind
doors.
of that brings him coming.
But what
And,
other wildlife are you attracting
Yeah.
when you do that?
Well,
Ducks.
we have some hedgehogs. We've got a couple of hedgehogs
okay.
that come by. Got a couple of seagulls who've taken up residence on the roof. And so I went out the front door. Lucy's at the back door. I'm at the front door. We're both kind of just calling for the cat like you do
Hollering.
because we've got nothing better to do with our evenings.
Absolutely.
And
He's already indoors. You're just
yeah,
calling out for him.
he's in
Trolling you.
he's in the lobby with a pipe.
Yeah.
But I remember looking out into the road and I see what looks like a very long cat, like a long-legged cat
Sure.
running along the road. I go, oh, that's an unusual cat. And then you go, oh, it's a fox. And your brain kind of does like this weird kind of mental gymnastics where you're not used to seeing anything that isn't like a dog or a cat.
So
Like,
it's not a dog.
yeah.
It's not a cat. What could it be?
I find them to be quite unsettling, actually, and I think the reason might be that you don't see them very often. But the truth is exactly in what you said, John, is that they're not quite cat and they're not quite dog, and out the corner of your eye, their movement doesn't match
Yeah.
either of those at all. So you get very suddenly like, what the fuck is that? And they are super long.
Yeah.
And their tails look nothing like cartoon fox tails. Like, you know how they look like a sort of beautiful brush that go
Yeah.
from quite wide to quite pointy? But they're literally just sticks. They're like a log that just comes out the back. There's no beautiful shape to them at all.
They're actually
really odd.
quite ugly, I think.
And their faces are horrifying.
Yeah.
They are a little creepy.
I'm harking back to Farthing Wood because a fox in my head as a kid was a majestic creature.
Well, I'm thinking
Because
of
of
Disney Robin Hood as well. Disney Robin
Yeah.
Hood fox.
Yeah.
He was a sexy fox.
really sexy fox. Yeah,
Like, kind of fox. You know? But real foxes, they have this like horrible grin and these spiky teeth and they look like piranhas kind of. They're kind of vile.
Well, certainly when you see
Yeah.
one in like the kind of like twilight, kind of run down the road, stop,
Yeah.
turn and look at you, and then we have this moment where I'm just staring at a fox from like 20 yards away, like making perfect eye contact, and then it just like leaps over a brick wall, which is
Yes.
quite kind of impressive.
It's
into
like
a
30
garden.
foot high.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, that's unsettling. Gonna lock the door now.
Yeah.
You're gonna lock everything.
I saw it one at my old house. I walked out the door once and there was just the most rabid looking fox you have ever seen. Oh, it scared the shit out of me. I just went, oh!
They look pretty raggedy at the best.
They do, but this one, oh my good god, seriously.
One of
It's
the
the
biggest
closest thing I can imagine to like a zombie fox.
Oh god.
when I was living in Canada, one of the biggest adjustments was getting used to the fact that we had raccoons like in the garden. And I remember once walking out of our shared house. There was 9 of us living in this absolute shack of a house in Toronto. I remember like opening the door in conversation with someone and going like, "Oh, well, actually, yes, I think it's going to be quite a nice day." Turning around and going like, "Jesus Christ!" And there was this thing which, honestly, in that moment, felt like the size of a sheep, like the size of an honest to goodness sheep, kind of on our kind of porch railing, right outside the door. And then just like it being as scared of me as I was of it, and then just legging it down the road. I just want to go, Jesus Christ! And then there's like a family walking their baby, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oops, so sorry."
Walking their baby.
Walking their baby.
Jesus Christ.
But they don't do a lot to get you settled because they're like, "Hey everyone, welcome to Canada. Okay, a few things you may want to get your head around. You know, you're gonna need like a social security number. Also, they don't use pounds here; they use dollars. That's weird." And they go,
Whoa.
also, raccoons. If you see them at night, they're perfectly safe. If you see one during the day, run for your life. Because yeah, that's what they say. Because it's like if a raccoon is out during the day, that means it's probably mad. So it means it's got rabies or something, and it will probably
God.
try to claw your eyes out. So just run.
I mean, I wouldn't be confident I could outrun a raccoon.
No, I
No,
can barely,
definitely not.
no, I
Definitely
can
not.
barely outrun my peers. You know.
Exactly.
Did you run?
Well, I never. Well, no, it ran away from me. I think it was on the cusp because it was kind of like 5 PM, so it wasn't quite daytime, wasn't quite nighttime.
It was getting to nighttime.
Yeah. And then, of course, when I lived in Vancouver, we had a bear in our garden.
Yeah, I remember that. That was the day before I flew out to see you in Canada, and I got a text from Holton saying, "Oh, there's a bear in the garden. See you tomorrow." He was like, "Oh, all right,
Sweet.
Well, the thing is, it was so hot all the time that we always just had like the patio door kind of open, but every door had like a mosquito net that you could like pull across. So we just had the netting out, and Holton and I were just like in the lounge drinking a beer or something and just watching some crap because that's what we did like every night. And our landlady who lived with us had just arrived home, and we get a call from her, and she's on the drive, and she's like, "I've just got back. I'm in my car. The doors are locked. There's a bear walking around the side of the house, like coming your way." So we instantly like turned off all the lights, and we shoved the patio door across, and then we were just sitting there in darkness, like up against the glass, kind of just watching, and we see this shape, which was about like the height of a table, just kind of like, it was all dark. We couldn't really see anything, like walking past the window, and then very quietly, like we just went up and like click, just like locked the door like that. And again, in the moment when it was right up against us, we couldn't see anything. But then it walks maybe like 30, 40 feet down the road and walked under like a lamppost, and then we just see this shape kind of just heading away.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's the same with foxes as well. Like you see them at a distance and they're silhouetted in like a street light or something, and that's when it's like creepy. Like I don't know what it is. It's like a long sticky man who's just like walking on all fours, like hello.
At least we don't have to worry about. There's not much in the UK which will kill you if you come across it.
That's nice though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the man versus nature, I think we kind of won in the
road
UK.
to victory.
Yeah.
Like there's no wild wolves, he said. I
Not
think.
that I have yet encountered.
No. I think we used to have bears. I think
The
pretty
biggest
much
thing I
everywhere
worry
had
about
bears.
now is teens.
Teens.
Fucking teens. Like,
What's
who
the
knows?
worst animal to encounter
Teens.
in the UK?
In the UK?
Yeah,
Ooh.
in terms of fatalities, potential fatalities. What would it be? Like an adder?
Yeah. Never
I've seen
seen an adder in my life. Never seen a...
I've never seen an adder.
Never seen it.
There's a lot up Cleve Hill, which is the walking route quite close to us.
Found a few snakes in our garden when we've been digging it up. I think they were just slow worms though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like 3 or 4.
I would shit myself.
They're crazy.
Even
They're
if I didn't know what sort of snake it was, I would just be like, "Ah!"
probably like 1.5 foot long, and it was like silver. Like
Seriously?
genuinely, yeah, like almost like mercury, liquid metal sort of. It was really cool.
Honestly, that would weird me out because you know, if we have any international listeners, like maybe you're more accustomed to seeing snakes than we are, but like it's not so.
We're all wimps here because we're not overexposed to
Well,
things.
it's not. I think what would scare me the most is it's not so much that like, oh, there's a snake in my garden. I think, like you were saying, Nick, when you see a fox and
Yeah.
your brain tries to go, what is it? Is it a dog? Is it a cat? And there's that moment where you can't quite make sense of it. If
That's
I
our
saw
instinctual brain, isn't it?
yeah, if I saw
Am I in danger?
a snake in Cheltenham of all places, that would just weird me out. I'd be less scared of getting bitten than I would be of.
Oh, they're there though. They're definitely here because someone on our lab group, which I've spoken about on a previous podcast, put a photo of an adder up like this week
Really?
in Cheltenham.
Seriously?
Yeah. Like probably up the hill, I expect. But
Wow.
yeah, oh yeah, they're around.
Is your Labrador group gonna form a posse with like flaming
Yeah, we should,
flaming
shouldn't we?
sticks? To...
We'll be like the Bloods and the Crips, won't we? We'll all have our own individually monogrammed jackets for the dogs.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, the dogs would.
I assume that's what the Bloods and the Crips are like.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
they're like the Jets and the Sharks.
yeah.
Of all the animals in the world,
Okay.
which do you feel would be the worst to encounter? Like
I'm genuinely.
What would be the scenario? Are we talking walking down the street or prepared for such an encounter?
No, I say you're not expecting it.
Okay.
I think that, the film. Oh, what film was it? The one that Leonardo DiCaprio's in. Like that put the fear of bears into me.
The Revenant.
Yeah, I think bears. Because the thing about bears is that here's the thing about bears.
The thing
everyone.
about bear.
Here's the thing about
Stop what
bears.
you're doing. If you think you know about bears, Nick's about
Yeah.
to educate you. They
Yeah.
sort of say, like, some of the advice is make lots of loud noises and the bear will fuck off. But I've seen a video, okay? This is a video. so this is fact, right, of a guy in America, and he's out there and he's fucking about in the wilds, whatever, and there's a bear, and he's filming it. He's got like a chest GoPro or whatever, and he starts going wah, wah, like this. He's waving his arms, and the bear's just like, oh, I didn't notice you there.
Hey, everyone, there's a human over here.
And the bear's just running at him, like galloping, full pelt, like, fuck, this guy is making himself such a target. This is so exciting. And he's going, and the man's just getting more and more desperate. You can hear him screaming like, row, row, like this, making these really weird noises. And then the video cuts, and you think, oh God, it's got him. And then the video cuts back in, and he's just walking away. And he's like, whew, that was close. And we don't know what happened. I don't know how he got away from the fucking bear. But like, it doesn't work. This advice that we're given, make yourself big, make noise, it doesn't work. So how do you stop it when it comes for you? I don't know.
I bet, and bears can climb really well, can't they? So I don't know where you would
can't go up a tree
if a bear came after you.
Well, just going back to Canada yet again, we briefly we spent a week going across the Rockies, and we went to a place called Lake Louise, and we figured we'd do a walk through the woods. You know, it's maybe like a few miles. It wasn't very far, but we were like, oh, great, this would be wonderful. Yeah, we heard a thing or two about bears, but if we stick to the main tracks and we're sensible, it won't be an issue.
Sure.
And we stopped by like a kind of wilderness station before we went out, and it had like a ton of information and flyers. And there was a flyer called "Bears and You." And if we weren't scared before, we were certainly terrified after reading that. And it's like, yeah, it's exactly the same thing. Like, it's like when you're walking along a path, make as much noise as possible. Which prompted Holton, my travelling companion, to frequently just clap his hands while he was walking.
Oh, for God's sake.
And I was like, that is not...
When I came, that's all he did. When we were walking at night, he just clapped his hands. It was like, oh, good, we're safe now. Unbelievable. Well, we went, because when I was there, we saw a bear on Vancouver Island, like a baby bear, and nearly got hit by a truck.
Nice.
But we were in the car then, and me and Holton walked to the supermarket one day, and a woman who lived in the area said, I've just seen a bear, just so you know, walking down the
Middle
road,
of the
which
day.
we didn't see, but it was there.
But I gotta say, more scary than a bear was like mountain lion.
Oh,
Because the guidance was like, if you see a bear, they're probably more scared of you than you are of them.
I was just about to say that. Is there a scenario where that isn't true?
Yeah, it's mountain lions.
There are animals that will just mess you up.
Yeah, they're basically like, if you see a cougar or a mountain lion, like the guidance was like, these animals are endangered and we want to protect them. However, if you see a mountain lion, do everything in your power to kill it.
Oh my God.
That's basically the official guidance. It's like, you cannot scare off a mountain lion. If you've seen it, it probably wants to kill you. So at that point, it's fair game. So
I mean, at that point, I go home. There's no need to be outside ever again.
But unless you have a gun with you or something like a spear or something that you happen to have on your person, how would you go about killing it?
Oh, I didn't bring my spear.
That's really the question,
I forgot my diamond-encrusted spear that can kill a mountain lion. Oh, well, I'm screwed then.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I think you just would be screwed. Like, I really can't think of a scenario.
I don't know how you'd go about killing an animal like that without a weapon.
Yep.
They say that, like, what makes man the most dangerous animal is our ability to build things. So if you gave me like a week in preparation, I could maybe like...
I'll give you an old tent. I'll give you a tyre.
And a TikTok
I'll give you
subscription.
all the duct tape you want.
And half a roofing tile.
Yeah.
And
use it wisely.
I'd dig a trench, I'd cover it in the old tent, and I'd put some leaves on it, and then I would stand behind it, and then when the mountain lion came, it would very quietly walk around the pit and then kill me.
Yeah,
because it's not an idiot.
Kill you, yeah.
It's not an
Yeah,
idiot.
no, and I would die. I would absolutely die.
So anyway, my local fox is a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah.
And I don't appreciate his caterwauling or his poos on my decking. So stop it!
Okay, well, if you're listening, Fox, please take that as a pretty succinct halt of your actions. Thank you.
Yeah.
God.
I've got a hate.
Oh, yeah.
And mine comes with a visual aid.
Oh,
Oh
yes,
my
you asked
God.
me to activate screen share.
And I love this
logged on.
audio
I
medium.
think I can. Yeah, okay, so my hate...
This will be good for everyone listening.
No. Well, just bear with me.
All right, I'm going to trust you with this.
I hate the many outfits of Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
Okay.
I have never noticed Mickey Mouse to have more than one traditional outfit.
Here's what I'm
But I'm obviously very naive to these things.
Okay, so I would like to clarify. Mickey Mouse, he's had a long and storied career. He's gone on a lot of adventures. I'm not referring to instances where Mickey has like when he's been in a cartoon and it's like, oh, what's the point of this cartoon? Oh, Mickey is selling ice cream, or Mickey is working on a railway. Like, I'm not talking about Mickey dressed as an ice cream salesperson.
Oh, okay.
Or Mickey dressed as a train person.
Oh, a train person.
A train person, yeah. I mean, when over the course of history, Disney has gone, right, we're saddled with this shitty mouse character. He's the mascot of our company. And how do we keep kids engaged when, like, the times keep changing? No hip and happening kid nowadays gives a toss about Mickey Mouse.
Well, I think Mickey Mouse is a YouTuber now, so that helps. Yeah. I'm joking.
Thank
Good
God.
God, I'm joking.
I don't know what to believe anymore. So they try to make Mickey relevant to a new generation.
Make Mickey great again.
By changing his outfit.
Okay.
So that kids nowadays will think he's cool.
This.
Okay.
And it really bugs me. It genuinely does bug me quite a bit. So I've brought up some examples here.
Okay.
So
these are recent alterations.
Oh no.
So can you both see what I'm sharing with you now?
Sadly,
yes, I can see.
Sadly, we
this,
can.
Yeah.
For the benefit of listeners, could you possibly describe what we're seeing here?
So Mickey seems to be wearing some sort of disco suit.
He's wearing a tracksuit, isn't he?
The caption reads "Mouser size."
This is okay. The fashion style on display here is basically white people's idea of what hip hop was in the 90s. So that should be enough for you to understand how these characters are dressed. We've got Mickey, Minnie, and Goofy.
Goofy's there as well, and so is Minnie, and they're dressed in similar attire.
Yeah. So
Goofy, in fact, has leggings and shorts on.
Yeah, he does.
So
which is weird.
This is from the 80s, and this is when jazzercise was a trend which was sweeping the nation.
Great.
And Disney were like, well, how can we get in on that?
How can we cash in on jazzercise?
How can we cash in on that? How can we get kids like just loving our shit? How can we sell tat to them? And they're like, okay, well, Mickey Mouse and Friends, they're going to teach kids how to exercise at home, and we'll call it Mousercise. Why not?
Yeah.
It's very clever.
But we can't.
I get it. I understand the reference.
But we can't just have our characters wearing their regular clothing. It's the 80s, for God's sake. We've got to update. We've got to update for the times. So we have.
What is Mickey's regular clothing? Is dungarees? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dungaree shorts, I think.
Red dungarees.
Yeah, but with no straps.
I think he does have straps sometimes. Or at least he has had straps.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So here we have. So Mickey is.
But this is very different to what I would normally associate him with. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like.
And his legs in a really weird position.
But I just feel, is a kid going to be tricked by this? Like, is a kid going to go, well,
Mickey's cool now.
I wasn't sold on Mickey before.
Who are they trying? Are they trying to get people to do jazzercise?
Well, they want.
Is that the idea?
They want to do Mousercise.
Yeah.
But what is that?
Oh, it was a whole thing.
It's jazzercise.
Okay, sure.
There were TV shows. There were CDs.
But are the kids going to do jazzercise?
No, they're going to do Mousercise.
But what's the difference?
One Disney make money on, the other they don't. Okay, so here's a little more for you. Here's some more.
Oh, so you got Pluto, Donald, and Donald's wife.
Daisy.
Is it Daisy?
I think so. Donald's wife.
And then two ant people.
I think this plays massively into our. I think we've talked about this before. Is the fact that Donald Duck resolutely does not wear trousers. And he is like.
Fair play to him. He is defiant in the face of social pressure.
He's very defiant on this, and it's like his outfit has changed here, and he's still gone. I bet the Disney executives came to him and said, "We got these trousers for you." He's like, "Fuck off! Am I wearing those?"
Yeah. Why should he?
And then Daisy didn't wear them either. So,
but she is wearing shoes.
Yeah, that's worse, isn't it?
Yeah, the worst kind of naked, as we've established before.
We have.
And why is Pluto only wearing sweatbands?
Because he's not a human. That's the age-old problem of Goofy and Pluto and what's going on there, I think.
Yeah, that is just a mind bender, isn't it?
Yeah, because Pluto here, Mickey's dog, who is... This is the thing, though. They couldn't just put Pluto on the branding for this. They couldn't do that. That's impossible, because he's got to be rebranded for this exercise fad.
Yes.
But we can't put clothes on him, because he's a dog.
That would be stupid.
So you're stuck in this terrible hinterland.
Well, then if he's a dog in the sense that we understand dogs, why is he doing the exercise?
Very true. Also,
why would he understand?
How
would he understand?
He has sweatbands on around his wrists.
And I can confirm that getting a dog to wear anything is a fucking nightmare.
But then...
So I'm not even sure putting sweatbands on him is a very good idea.
So, like, all the characters are wearing 80s-inspired jazzercise wear. But these two little cockroaches, or ants, whatever they are still wearing what looks like 1940s kind of like
that's true.
Formal wear with a bow tie and a jacket with a coat with coattails.
I think are we going to share these on the Facebook group so people can see them as they watch?
Well, I'm gonna have to now.
We're going to have to now because this has gone into much more detail than I think you.
Okay, show us some more, John.
Okay, well I've got more for you. This...
Oh
my good! Why is he wearing the shorts under the trousers?
He's wearing shorts under. Right, so this is.
So Mickey's wearing his normal red shorts, but on top of those, he's wearing really baggy jeans, and he's pointing at his crotch.
Yeah, and he's got sunglasses on and a cap on backwards.
This is a. I cannot believe I'm about to say these words. This is a Mickey Mouse rap cassette.
Oh my god!
Which was actually released in 1994, and it is a hip hop Mickey on the cover.
Yeah, he's cool. He's very. Oh, I'm looking at the track listing here. We've got Ice Ice Mickey.
I'm reading the lyrics.
We've got Ducks in the Hood
with us as well.
You can't botch this. Mickey Mouse Club Mix.
What a mouse! That's a song.
That is DJ Goose.
What a mouse! What a mouse! What a mighty good mouse!
So basically, they just took classic songs and re-skinned them.
This is nightmarish.
So Minnie is rapping this. So Minnie is singing this to Mickey.
Yeah.
Presumably.
He isn't fast like Speedy, doesn't have a deep voice, but if I had to pick, he'd be my choice.
It's just what to say. I don't have to say please. In my life, he's number one, the really big cheese.
It's really good. It's really good.
Kind of ghastly.
I mean, we're rapping now, so it obviously does work.
So yeah, as you pointed out, we have Mickey Mouse wearing sunglasses, a backwards baseball cap, and his regular pants. But then,
I don't understand why his regular pants are under his trousers.
Yeah, he's wearing an additional pair of low-slung baggy jeans as well. Because
I know why he's got his underpants on, because otherwise we'd see his pubes. We don't want to see that. So that's probably why.
But is Mickey, because Mickey is obviously a sort of a plain black apart from the gloves and his shorts. Is that fur or is that his skin?
Oh god, it's very glossy.
Yeah,
it is glossy, but I think it's meant. He is a mouse. He's a black mouse.
Yeah. My issues with Mickey the Mouse here.
Mickey the Mouse, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds weird saying that.
My issues with Mickey the Mouse here are entirely based on the clothes he's wearing. I have a whole secondary set of issues with his basic anatomy as a mouse. Like it's very problematic to me.
Let's save that for another show.
Yeah. Okay, so I do have more. You'll be pleased to know.
Oh, great.
So this one's a little hard to make out because it's a badge.
Is this a badge? Yeah.
Looks like a pin badge. Yeah. Okay.
So this is to celebrate the official Videopolis nightclub in Disneyland.
Videopolis.
I didn't know there was a nightclub in Disneyland.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a nightclub in Disneyland because they were like, it's 1985. How do we get teens into Disneyland? How do we get them to care about Disney? So let's have a nightclub.
I'll be totally honest, I can't think of a shitter night out than Videopolis.
I can't think of a more expensive night out.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean. They're like, Disney's bending over backwards to try and rebrand to the teen market. And they're like, but we can't get rid of Mickey. Because what?
No.
But at
they're
the same
really
time,
shackled, aren't they?
But what teenager is going to care about Mickey Mouse? So here we have a kind of 80s cool Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
But
I feel this is what older people think cool looks like.
Yeah, he's kind of dressed
Whereas
like...
the actual youth would be like, what the hell is going on?
He's dressed like Chandler from Friends.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, he is.
He's got a popped collar. He's got a baggy jacket that he's hitched the sleeves up to the elbow. He's got a loose tie over the top of that. And then he's got some jeans and some white trainers. And he's got some sunglasses, but they're on his head.
His feet are massive as well.
Yeah, let's not get into his feet.
The jacket.
And that's going to cause problems down the line.
The jacket is a kind of light green and pink as well, which is very 80s.
It's a bad look.
Okay, I've got more.
Great.
More.
Oh, a Videopolis t-shirt.
This is Mickey with a guitar.
This is at odds with the previous Videopolis branding, I feel. This looks very kiddie now.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting, Nick, that the Disney branding around this time was in any way inconsistent?
No, I would never suggest such a thing.
I don't think any of us can afford to slag Disney off in such a way.
Okay, well, how about this one? This is Mickey.
Ah, here we go.
This is how he's evolved.
Yeah, Mickey throughout the eras. And what I find...
hang on, this is bullshit.
Why is this bullshit, Nick?
This is bullshit because the today Mickey is that Mickey we were talking about earlier. Is the Chandler Bing Mickey?
That is, the Chandler Bing Mickey.
And I do not think that was ever standard Mickey. That was not the Mickey that was on Happy Meal toys. That was not the Mickey that was on the main
Mouse
side.
costumes I could picture before we started this were the Fantasia Mickey, who is in this picture, and the 1930s Mickey.
But I will take it back.
I couldn't really picture him in any other outfits until you brought this to my attention.
He's never had shoulder straps. You're absolutely right, John. He's never had them. Look, they're not there.
Yeah, no, I was sorely mistaken on that one.
I feel this is Disney lying to us basically, because what we have here is a montage of all the different Mickeys. And as you rightly said, Nick, I don't know when this poster was made. I'm going to guess it was the 80s.
Yeah.
Because they're it's like they're lying to us and they're saying, and here's the hot new Mickey, because the final step in this evolutionary chain from Neanderthal to, walking upright to modern man is Mickey wearing an untucked pink shirt, a baggy blue jacket, and he's got that
white chinos and white sneakers.
And he's got that cheeky. He's doing that cheeky pose that sitcom characters did.
He looks like he'd be charming to your parents, but then set his cohorts on you when you cross the road.
Yeah.
The thing is that you track back through this timeline, and I don't believe that the 1941 Mickey was what Mickey looked like across all of their marketing.
I reject that hypothesis.
Yeah. The thing is that the character, the in terms of the basic silhouette of the design of the character, such as the 1936 one, is a mouse, black mouse with black solid dots for eyes. He's got white gloves, red shorts, and yellow shoes. The instant you add anything more to that, you're not changing the design, you're just complicating it. And that's all they've done with all of the ones after 1936, is they've just added a jacket or a suit or a hat. It's like, you haven't changed the design though, you've just added bits to it.
Yeah. What's interesting about this is that the first Mickey is being drawn by presumably the artist who is drawing this entire picture.
Yeah, pencils
there's
coming
a pencil.
in.
And then they're all drawing each other.
Yeah. Right up till the modern
weird.
day being the 80s. Where...
And the final Mickey looks like he's airbrushing the current one,
Yeah.
which signals the advancement of technology.
Indeed,
But that's
does.
my point. That's my point exactly. It doesn't matter if you're drawing. It doesn't matter if you're drawing Disney with a Wacom tablet, like an airbrush or a pencil. Like, a kid today isn't going to care that you rendered this thing in Minecraft. Like, you just draw it. Pencils haven't gone out of fashion. Draw the old costume and draw it with a pencil, like God intended. It's just it's ridiculous.
Have you got more?
Oh yeah, I think I do have a couple more actually. This is
1990 16-month calendar. That's not a calendar.
It doesn't work.
Oh, don't get me started on 16-month calendars.
So this is the cover of a calendar, and he looks like he's dancing in a sort of 1950s diner with Minnie.
Yeah. It looks like he's recycled his original Chandler Bing suit, but he's now got a high school jacket.
It's a Letterman jacket now, and he's got Converse sneakers on, and she's wearing like an A-line dress with a little sort of, I don't know what that jacket is made of, grass?
Yeah, it could be grass.
Yeah, it's probably
grass. Yeah.
And there's Pluto. There's a picture of Pluto on her skirt. Is that the real Pluto?
This is it. Is she buying Pluto merch? I don't know what's happening.
Who sold her that?
Yeah, did she make
or
it
it
herself?
it would be a very expensive custom.
Yeah, it's a custom. That's what it is. It's a custom.
Why did they try so hard to squeeze Pluto into this image. Like, he doesn't actually add anything. If anything, I say he makes the image worse.
Also,
Has
yeah,
Disney
it
ever
confuses
addressed-
Minnie's like skirt massively by having him on there like a patch almost.
Yeah. Has Disney ever addressed why Goofy can talk and Pluto can't?
I think
'Cause on the
it's-
face of it, Pluto seems far more intelligent than Goofy.
I think it's the case of a stunted clone. In fact,
Okay, sure, sure.
the subtitle that Disney nearly went with was the stunted clone
Yeah,
experiment.
the stunted clone, brackets, Pluto.
But basically, they tried to clone Goofy because they wanted a comedy duo of twins. That's what
Yeah.
they wanted.
Oh, sure.
But what came out was like powerfully stunted, like industrially stunted, I'd say. So they rolled with him as a dog, but neither of them are dogs. They just call him a dog. Have you seen? I mean, have you seen a dog? That
I mean,
looks like
I
Pluto?
buy that, to be honest. I'm happy with that explanation.
Yeah, stunted clone.
Yeah. Pluto the stunted clone in his own TV show.
Pluto the stunted clone. That was going to be his.
That
was his intro.
Pluto the stunted clone.
Whee!
I have one last one for you.
Oh, great! It's been a treat.
It's
Man.
it's a little smaller than the others. This is the highest quality image I could find online.
John, did you draw this?
This is from my private collection.
Oh, this is badly drawn. This is a badly drawn image. I'm going to say.
I'll say it again. You would not get headphones on a dog.
Nope.
I've tried it.
So
So
what are we seeing here? Describe it.
okay, so this is Minnie and Mickey, and they got their backs to each other, and they're looking over each other's
Yeah.
shoulders at each other,
They
kind
look
of
like they're going to make like a buddy comedy.
yeah, that's exactly it. They're like sort of mischievously smiling at each other, and then it looks like Pluto has got his arms around Minnie's legs, like he's rugby tackling her to the ground,
Yeah.
which is weird. And he's wearing headphones, and
He's wearing headphones and he's got one of his ears cocked, so it's like he's trying to listen to Minnie, but he's got a headphone in that ear.
and then the way they're
So
dressed,
it's counterproductive, really.
I couldn't put an era on this one. I don't think.
I think John drew it before he came
It's
on tonight.
it's like a Paul Simon music video. I feel like
Yeah,
this is quite
yeah.
80s again.
Yeah, it's definitely 80s,
I mean,
I think.
if Mickey's head bends that far down, fair play to him.
Neither of them have necks.
He's done very well if he's able to move his head like that.
They both look like they're melting a little bit.
They're doing, as you say, they're doing that classic buddy cop kind of pose where you put your hands in your pockets,
Yeah.
and then you both lean really heavily on each
Yeah.
other, and then you kind of just give each other like a knowing glance.
I feel
Yeah,
like
like this guy. No, this guy.
yeah. I feel like the cover to Ferris Bueller's Day Off is him leaning against the edge of the poster, like the edge, the border of the screen, and he's doing that. He's got his hands in his pockets, his feet are crossed, and he's looking over his shoulder. I'm sure that's what
Yeah.
it is.
Why was everyone leaning on things in the
Yeah.
80s and 90s?
Were they all like high?
Doesn't make
a lick of
All,
sense.
Like high on street drugs.
Also, if these various Mickeys from the 80s and 90s are to be believed, long, untucked shirts were very much in fashion,
That's very Vogue. Yeah.
and a very long, kind of like baggy jacket with like the sleeves rolled up was quite in as well.
I think it's only in the last 5 years that people have actually bought clothes that fit them.
It it doesn't work because his character is very simply defined, and so the instant you try and complex him up with like the seams of jeans or the pockets in a trouser or something like that, it doesn't fit his anatomy very well. It doesn't work. It's just messy. It just looks stupid. Take his clothes off.
But also, you got like his ghastly ears, like just his horrible kind of disc ears, which don't like
They don't make a lot of sense.
Do we know who designed Mickey and whether they were
probably Walt Disney.
on something at the
I
time?
would have thought Walt Disney designed him.
I mean, that is a hell of a leap from sort of a normal mouse to that.
Walt Disney
Yeah.
designed Mickey Mouse.
Have you just confirmed that? With
Yeah, I
the,
just googled it.
with the magic of the internet. So that's my thing. Don't.
Okay, well, thanks for taking us on a little trip. That was really exciting.
Well, I brought visual aids. I was going to say, don't compromise your artistic integrity to try to appeal to the children of the current generation, because all children are idiots and they all take they'll enjoy whatever you give them, basically.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about putting Catamaran on TikTok. What do you think about that?
If you can somehow get Catamaran into, wait, are jeans tight or baggy at the moment? What's cool? I don't
think
know
it's
anymore.
both. I think it's like girls wear mom jeans and guys wear spray-on jeans. I don't know.
If you can get Cat into a very high-waisted tight jean,
Yeah.
I think they'll suddenly be relevant again.
Okay. Oh, what are you saying?
Nick, I've been trying to find a way to tell you this. The world has moved on. So,
Well,
yeah, that's my hate.
Very good. I've got one.
That's fair.
Go on then.
I don't know.
Nicholas.
I don't know how long we'll talk about this one, but I'm gonna offer it up to you anyway. I don't like games, that is to say, board games, where I have to lie to my friends.
Oh no.
There's one primary. There's a whole genre of games I think that sit in this area where it's like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we role played where one of you knows something and the others have to interrogate it out of the other. And the biggest one I know of for this is One Night Werewolf.
Okay.
So the premise of the game is that at the beginning, you are all secretly given a role, right? And one of you might be a priest, and one of you might be a seer, and one of you might be just a villager, right? But one of you could be a werewolf, right? And then, like, the game progresses, and at various points, like, you've all got to close your eyes, but various people are told to open their eyes, and some of them might therefore know or have an idea of who the werewolf is. And then the timer starts, everyone opens their eyes, and you've basically just got to argue about why you are or are not, or why I think John might be the werewolf, or why I think Chris is lying to me, to my face, despite the fact that he swore that he would be my friend till death. You know, just sort of this sort of thing that goes on until eventually, ideally, we've worked out who the werewolf is, and then we all vote for it, and if we're wrong, we all lose, and if we're right, the werewolf loses. Hooray! And I just get so stressed out. Like, I'm just like, I don't want to have to accuse people. I don't want to have to lie to people. I thought I enjoyed them in the early days. I thought I enjoyed playing these games, but my heart rate is just skyrocketing while I'm playing them. I'm sweating.
I don't.
And
play
I'm not
games.
even the werewolf.
Yeah, I don't really play games for that level of confrontation. Like maybe because I'm just getting soft in my old age. Like, I quite enjoy games where you all work together.
Yeah, absolutely. Games like Pandemic, where you've got a board and all 4 of you or 5 of you or whatever are working to stop a virus from spreading all over the world. It got a bit real. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel the need. I honestly feel like these games are built to create conflict.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, wouldn't it be fun to have a reason to, like, yell at your friends and tell them that you think they're liars? I don't know.
Are you uncomfortable with the lying to your friends, or what aspect makes you feel uncomfortable?
I get very stressed. Like, and I don't know.
Are you just a bad liar? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I have done quite well in these games in the past when I've sort of felt like I should play, and then like when I do well, I feel really guilty. Because like that means I've successfully lied, and I also wonder whether people are going to go away and go, Nick lied really, really well in that game. What else does Nick lie about?
We're kind of learning something about you.
Because Nick didn't have any tells. You know, he didn't give anything away when he lied. And he talked in a very similar way when he said he couldn't come to my child's bar mitzvah. And I am starting to wonder now, what is Nick's fucking deal?
And everyone's like, yeah, you notice how like Nick has like black shark-like eyes and never blinks.
But it's like, it would be worse for me to discover that I was a really, really good liar and that I had absolutely nothing that gave me away. If that was the learning that came from me playing a game like that, I don't know how I could take that information away and process that.
I have played this game a few times with you, and I am, I think, objectively bad at it.
I vaguely remember you being quite bad at it, yeah.
Yeah, like I think I'm not an especially good liar, I think, in general.
Sure.
Like, I think my strategy is always to try at least to be so morally uptight that no one would ever expect, no one would ever suspect me of being the bad guy, and then that win,
could play into your hands equally.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, I think it may have done a couple of times. When I have played it with you, I remember thinking, "Oh, it won't be John," and then it was, simply because we all assumed it wouldn't be.
It's like every time I play a game where there's a moral choice, or you can be like comically evil or comically good, I always play as like basically a saint.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I just can't bring myself to do anything bad.
No. Ali's playing a video game at the moment where it's like set in feudal Japan, and she's like, it's like open world, super realistic. She's a samurai, like fighting, and she's cutting down Mongols like nobody cares. Like, yeah, there's blood everywhere. And then sometimes wildlife will be attracted, and there was this family of wild boar started chasing Ali down. She refused to kill them.
Oh,
I can't kill them.
But they're virtual. But they're virtual.
They are virtual, yeah. But I'm the same. Like, I won't just kill an animal. I'll kill a guy.
You got to. You got to kill or be killed.
I'm not going to kill an innocent animal.
What if it was a fox though?
Oh, I'd
Fine.
kill a fox. Fuck that. Yeah.
Because a
Kill a
fox
fox,
hasn't got
yeah.
any discernible meat on it that it would be delicious.
No, but they have to die just on the basis of like principle. I think.
I mean, if it would stop shitting in my garden, that would be fine. That would
That'd be
be
a big
that
start,
would be
I
a step in the right direction for not killing it.
They do really. We're back on foxes again, but their faces. Look up a fox's face. It's just not.
How do you feel you would fare, Chris Ray? I've often
Well,
imagined.
you tell me. I mean, I feel like I'm quite a decent liar.
But do you have any? Would you have any moral? Not moral. Would you have any internal sort of conflict over making a game about lying to, say, John and I, your best friends?
Oh no.
Yeah, I think you'd like these games.
I would lie to win a game.
Yeah, I see. 'Cause this is the thing. You have quite a competitive streak, I feel.
How dare you? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I'm fairly competitive. Yes.
And that is the thing.
I like to win.
I could come out of all of this and go, Nick, it's just a game. It's just a game. But I feel like I think the thing that
that's what losers say.
yeah. So okay, partly that, which doesn't help my case at all. But secondly, also, I think it can betray something about the person. You know, for good or for bad. I don't know. I worry that I would be. I worry that I'd be good. I worry that I'd be bad. I worry that I would accuse a friend of being something, and then it turns out they're not, and now I feel like a dickhead. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much here.
Well, I feel this way about poker. Like every time I'm not playing poker, I feel to myself, I'd really like to play poker. Like I want to get some friends together, give it a shot. You know, actually, you know, not play for big money, but like just have a few stakes. But I'm really, really, really bad at lying in poker. Yeah, just in general, I'm not very good at it. Like because I'm always like.
But how do you give stuff away in poker? Like how you know?
Well,
I feel like poker, everyone, as long as they're not really, really obvious about it, you can lie pretty effectively in that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to really answer any questions or anything.
But my general poker strategy, let's be charitable and call it a strategy, is to go. Yeah, I'm in. You know, I'll match the big blind, and I kind of slide the money in.
Oh,
and
I see.
go, and I'm like, oh yes, I'm feeling fairly confident. And then someone else goes, yeah, I'm in. I'm like, oh my god, and I instantly start losing my shit because I'm like, and then I'm like, okay, well, I was feeling fairly confident about this bluff. Okay, I guess I'll raise a little bit, and I put like an extra chip in, and then they double it. I'm like, oh, and I just fall apart, and they could have nothing.
There
was one night where you filmed us playing poker, and you put the camera in the middle of the table, and I hadn't realised I'd done it, but we watched it back, and I get a bad hand, and you could just see me visibly go, oh, for fuck's sake. I didn't even realise I was doing it.
Great poker face.
Because I've heard apparently professional poker players, a lot of them won't even play a hand unless they've got like something amazing like in there.
Well, they just knock out straight away.
Yeah, but just go fold, and I'm like, well, that means
that's not really playing the game, though, is it?
But this is the psychology of it, though, isn't it? Because I guess if I know they're only ever folding when they've got they've got a shit two cards. The moment they go, oh, I'm in, I'm like, oh no, that means they've got something amazing. But what if they're lying to me?
But does it? Well, that's the name of the game, isn't it?
That is the name of the game, I guess.
It's in the rules.
This is why I'm really bad at it.
Yeah, I always feel like I get it. When I'm playing poker, I'm always like, I know what I'll do. I'm going to do a really big bluff this time. I've got fuck all in my hand. So I'm going to like double the blind, double the last bet, whatever. And everyone's going to think that but then someone else will do it. Or go even higher, and I'm like, okay, so now do I keep going with this charade? And I don't know when is the right time to keep. So then I do, and then I just run out of chips, and then we reveal our cards, and they actually did have a great hand. And so I'm like, so bluffing doesn't work.
That's the thing. Like,
I never feel better than after I've won by lying.
well,
okay.
You'd think...
if I'm playing poker and I've got terrible cards, and I've beaten someone who's got great cards, that's me. I've won that. My brain and my psychology have manifested themselves to beat my opponent, even though they are in a much stronger position than I am.
You're amazing.
That is the American dream.
Well, apparently,
I think it is. Yeah.
Apparently, but I guess like if you're going to be really good at it, if you've got an amazing hand, and you know you've got an amazing hand, you want to trick someone into thinking you've got a bad hand so that they'll stay in the game longer,
And
put more money in,
Maybe,
and then you rinse them at the end.
Maybe, but I don't necessarily know how you go about that too specifically.
This is my point. This is why we're not good at poker.
There's a bit of a fallacy as well, certainly in how it's depicted in movies and stuff like that, where you get these like legendary poker players. But the truth is, they are still dependent on the luck of what cards they get. Even if they bluff and bluff and bluff, if there's someone else who's got better cards than them and they keep up with their bets, then they are going to lose. And I think for every like amazing scene where a guy like completely wins the game and he's this hero of poker, for every one of those scenes, there's a million scenes where the same technique didn't work. Because it's kind of like luck of the draw in that moment, isn't it?
Yeah, they never.
Casino Royale. Casino Royale is the finest poker scene on film.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
That's good.
It's very good.
It builds the tension very nicely.
Every
I'll
time
have to watch that again.
Every time we've tried having a poker night in the past, we've always said, "Oh, let's put Casino Royale on in the
I
background."
love Casino Royale.
And then we never,
oh my life.
we never
watch
play the
Casino
game.
Royale.
We just end up watching Casino Royale.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
good.
Let's put Casino Royale in the background. Oh, we still playing? Nah.
Nah, we can't play as well as these
Let's
guys.
watch Casino Royale
The
instead.
thing is, nobody has ever made that movie though, where a guy walks into a casino and it's like, doom, 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 doom. You know, it's like a really like.
He's
kinda
walking
like,
in slow motion.
Yeah, he's got his shades on. Yeah. You know, they never like just walk up to the table and go, look
Deal
at
me
the
in.
cards. Yeah, all in, and fail. And they never just like they never. And,
I want to see that.
I was at a football match a few years ago near Blackpool. So we went out afterwards, and then we went to a casino in Blackpool.
oh,
And I was
Very nice.
quite drunk at this point. So I went up to the roulette table. I went, "Give me £20 on red. Give me £20 on red." He went, "Do you want any chips?" Or, no. Give me £20 on red. So he took my £20.
Sure.
Black.
And that's
Just
that.
straight lost. And then I tried to put a pound in a machine that shouldn't have been taking a pound.
Right.
And it got stuck. And then my mate started pulling his own pints behind the bar, and we were asked to leave.
Right. Okay. So that's your casino
So
experience.
that was me trying to look cool, but ending up looking like a fool.
Oh.
so that's like the 4 of you, the 5 of you. You walk in slow motion with your shades
Yeah.
on,
That was the night.
and it's like,
We mean business.
and you just like nod to each other, say, "Gentlemen, it's showtime. Please leave."
It's just like scene missing, and then they're outside.
This all probably took place over about 25 minutes as well.
Yeah, I love it, but I feel like the problem is I don't have a gambling mentality.
I think that's the issue. I'm always thinking safely. So
Yeah.
it's like, what can I afford? That's not
Yeah,
how you're meant to think.
I think that's a sensible thing to do, though. Never gamble more than you can afford.
Yeah,
The thing is, if
I think anyone who does that is going to be in trouble before too long.
but they might win bigger than me.
the thing is, like, if you ever wanted me to actually play poker really well, I'd have to be like shackled to the table. Someone's got a gun to my head, and it's like play or I don't know, the puppy gets it, like something like really kind of like emotionally like investing. I'm like, oh. But
Yeah.
if I'm playing with friends and I go like, even if we've all put like 10 quid into the pot, I'll just go, "Oh, I don't really need that £10.
Yeah,
I'm just,
that's
I'm just glad
exactly
to have my
right.
friends around."
Yeah, that's how I think. And like Chris Ray's there thinking, I want that 40 quid. Like I want
Yeah.
all of that money.
Whereas
Big
we're
time.
just a couple of like beta male losers who don't know we're about to be beaten, basically.
It's because we don't care if we are or not.
I don't like losing very much. I'm not a very good loser, put it that way.
Whereas I'm generally okay with it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm kind of okay with it. I at least said I'm kind of used to it. Then I think I am.
I'm used to it. It's just I don't take it very well.
I learned at a young age that when a bully is trying to take your money, just go limp and play dead on the floor.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that he wins. What matters is that I lived for another day.
Anyway, do you think we've exhausted the hate?
I think so. Is there community
For now.
stuff?
Yeah, we do have some.
Whilst you read that, John, I'm just going to go and pop and get a drink, but you carry on, please.
Oh, I guess.
And I'll be back. Not that I'm showing contempt for the community, you understand. It's just that I require a drink.
I see.
Please carry on.
Okay, well, I guess. Well,
Lead us
you
in.
know, that's going to be really hard to edit, so I guess I'll keep talking. So, Louis, friend of the show, writes in and says, "I hate toasters and other people in the house turning it up to the maximum setting and then leaving it like that after using it. So when I make my toaster later on, it becomes a slab of carbon.
Oh, this sounds very specific to you, Louis, and your household.
Yeah, it sounds like your problem, Louis. Like maybe keep it to yourself.
You're an avid listener of a show called Hate, for that we appreciate, but we're not here to solve your problems, and I don't believe there's anything we can do about this. No, I'm sure that's very frustrating. I don't have a toaster.
What do you eat? Well, you just eat raw sausages, don't you? Out there,
everything's
fresh
cold.
out the pack?
Everything's raw. Yeah. No, I'll use, because I don't use a toaster very often, so I don't feel the need to have one. So I'll just grill bread in the oven if I need to toast something. But yeah, I can't relate to Louis' pain specifically in that respect, because it's never happened to me. But hey, maybe you can use that charcoal square for something else.
I hear charcoal is actually quite good for your digestion.
Yeah, so maybe just eat it, Louis, and stop
Supposed to
complaining
be.
for a second.
Yeah,
but
maybe
also, you could chop it into little sort of chips and use it to draw. We could get back onto that art situation we were talking about earlier.
Chris Ray, what are your thoughts on toasters and people leaving them on too high?
Well,
Go on, earn your money, you lazy fuck.
are we saying that to the extent that they're going into a state of burn?
So picture this, Chris. You come home, you're desperate for a slice of fresh toast with a knob of butter on it, and you chuck your toasted bread in, confident that it's going to come out the way you love it every time. But Liz has left it on 35, the highest setting any toaster is known.
It only goes up to 10.
Yeah.
I know, she's managed to hack it because she just loves it to be
Hack
black.
into the toaster.
And in seconds, your beloved piece of bread, the last bread in the house, in fact, is now a black square. How do you react?
Oh, I wouldn't be very happy.
No, sure.
I like mildly toasted bread.
Me too. Hardly toasted.
Like I'm talking basically still bread.
Yeah, I like to
agree.
wave it in front of a light bulb a couple of
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's generally a bit too
So
much
I
for
would
me.
I would be upset if a overly browned piece of bread came out.
I would
Very
also.
upset.
Yeah,
I
be
would
very upset.
probably complain.
Well, Louis
I-
has complained to us.
Louis, my life hack for a toaster is to put it on the lowest setting and then just put it back in like 10 times until it reaches the perfect point.
So you're perfectly happy.
Yeah, honestly, I do kind of do that, like, because I'm so terrified of going over that sweet spot and getting even like, I just want the mildest like orange kind of like little tinge to it. I don't want.
Yeah, I agree. Or Louis, you could get your own toaster in your room, and then you can have toast all day long.
Yeah,
whenever you
get a like a two. You could be a two toaster family.
Ooh, Johnny, two toasters over there.
Yeah.
Timmy two toasters.
I guess the recession's over. Jesus.
Yeah, I guess so. You can afford another toaster. You're a personal toaster.
Ned, friend of the show, writes, I hate the term gamer.
Oh.
I play video games, but I don't need a label any more than I should be known as a filmer because I watch movies. The term just smacks of incels, toxic masculinity, and whiny man-children. I hate it when people say, oh, are you a gamer? As if I'm going to throw up a gang sign or talk about them like I would a sport or a project. It's just another form of visual media. There are unique elements, of course, but they don't need a self-congratulatory, deeply problematic moniker to justify the medium.
Wow.
Boom.
Well,
Boom.
that's some of the best writing that we've had on this show, I think.
Well, as I'm the authority on this show about gaming and aspects of, yes, I would dislike being pigeonholed into such a bracket. I'm sure.
I think what's stupid about the term is that kind of everyone likes games on some form or another. Like whether you play, Call of Duty on an expert level on a server, with only pro players, or whether you play croquet in your garden when there's a wedding on. We all like a game,
Yeah, Granny sitting down with a deck of cards to play whist. She's also a gamer,
Is she a gamer? Exactly.
Yeah, she's a gamer. She's got a sick rig.
Oh, bro. Yeah.
Do you contend, sir, that this rig be banging?
What, this fold-out wooden table?
Yeah, her cribbage table is basically that's the liquid cooled Alienware of its day. I feel
Absolutely, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that because I think it could even be argued that to play games is one of the features of higher levels of intelligence. Maybe it's what kind of separates us from the animals, and yet
Yeah.
that's more than just eating Doritos. And
This is the weird thing. He's absolutely right about the fact that there's a label and a connotation to that term now. Because I think I play video games probably every evening. Like pretty much, if I'm left to my own devices, once I've got everything I want to get done, that will be my optimum choice of entertainment. But I wouldn't call myself a gamer because I don't like the idea of like that being my label. I think that's kind of a disgusting term.
Is a gamer supposed to be someone who does it professionally?
Well,
maybe not professionally, but maybe someone who is wholly obsessed with it. So like that would be the most identifying aspect of them. Whereas maybe you could argue that I have greater defining aspects than just the fact that I play games. But it's just what I do as entertainment. It's like he says, like if you watch a couple of films a week, are you a filmer? No, of course you're not.
yeah. I wonder if this is actually the fault of our old friend marketing. Like if we can lay this at their door, because like I feel much of the same way that I think at a point in history, I feel like Doritos or Mountain Dew or something like that, they tried to actually market snack food just for gamers, as if like it was scientifically cultivated so that only the unique digestive system of a gamer could process the slurry that they were creating.
No.
And I feel they've done that for football, like in the past. I just feel like gaming is like the new market that people can kind of like exploit for money.
Yeah,
and
I agree with that.
The way
Probably.
the way to do that is to make the people who are doing it feel like they're a different breed, like they're a different type of person. Like, there must be a hell of a lot of chuff just marketed at people who like football. Because
Oh yeah. I feel like it's boiled out as well of sort of like the older generations sort of not understanding it and so labeling it as they're gamers, aren't they? Whatever gamers are, ooh, you know. And I don't think any actual person who is an avid fan of video games would actually have referred to themselves as a gamer if it was not for an older generation coming up with that term.
Yeah. Because I guess all we have to do is wait. Like, the longer we leave this, then the more people alive on the planet today are going to have some more experience of playing video games, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Which is kind of weird, isn't it? Because I get what Neg's saying, because to say that, like, you've got a proper gamer also spawned, like, that ugly phrase about being, like, a casual gamer.
Yeah.
As if, like, if you just played games on your mobile phone, or you liked games that didn't involve shooting someone, you somehow weren't doing it properly, or something like that. You were kind of weak.
There was a big data sort of, I don't know, like questionnaire or whatever that got some results out that basically proved that the highest proportion of people who spend most of their time playing games were actually people playing Candy Crush on their phone, and a greater proportion of them were women than men. So really, what this data showed is that there were more women that played video games like resolutely and regularly than men, and of course the gamers. They didn't like that at all.
Oh, I bet they kicked off, didn't they?
Yeah, that was the worst thing you could say to them. Well, Candy Crush doesn't count, doesn't it? I mean, I think lawn croquet counts as well. Seriously.
Yeah, there's actually more people playing bowls or bools.
Bools with a U.
Bools. I mean, we have because we apparently live in a Tolkien-esque fantasy. We have a bowling green right in the heart of town.
We do.
We do.
Yeah.
And
We have two actually. There's one right by the football ground as well.
Is there really?
Good
Good
to know,
God!
good to know.
Come
Right
to
behind
Cheltenham.
it.
Not one, but two bowling greens.
Two bowling greens. They should lead with that instead of the festival stuff, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, once I actually applied for a job once at a bowls club.
Doing what?
Running their website. Their awful geosites kind of website.
HTML1.
It looked like the Space Jam website. It was astonishing.
Oh, brilliant.
Okay, well, to end on a positive note, we have a love from Alex, friend of the show,
Friend of the show.
who basically says, and is a rather uncontroversial opinion, I love raspberry cheesecake from Tesco's.
It's amazing.
Other brands are available, but he says other brands aren't available because he says I've compared it to the cheesecake from Waitrose, and Tesco's comes out on top. Lighter, fluffier topping with only a slight addition of raspberry jam and a much more solid Biscuit
Does he work
base.
for Tesco?
Yeah.
Not
I
that-
think we're
not
getting too
sponsored.
deep into not sponsored content now. Like, we need to be careful.
This is my new raspberry cheesecake ASMR.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Not too solid, but just solid enough that it doesn't fall apart when you use your fork.
I don't know what that means.
Annie Yang's
What is too solid? Like your fork gets absorbed by the cheesecake.
It's like ice.
Yeah.
but apparently Tesco raspberry cheesecake. Love it.
Love it. Get on down.
I believe you.
I've had
I
it.
have
It's
no
excellent.
frame of reference really.
It's really good. Eat it.
I do remember when we lived
Eat them, eat them.
when we lived together, Nick. I do remember splitting or having a raspberry or some kind of cheesecake in the house, and it being one of those nights where we were like, well, normally like a sixth of a cheesecake is like a good pudding.
That's the pudding. Yeah.
And I think we made the call to maybe eat the whole thing between two people.
I think we did. And we're like, can we have half a cheesecake each now in one go? And the consensus between the two of us was yes. Yes, we can.
And like, I think we were about halfway through when we realised it was maybe a mistake. But you've got to carry on because you can't put half an eaten cheesecake back in the fridge.
This is the only arena in which I will become competitive. That is to say, gorging myself to near death.
Yeah, as we've established, though, you have an unfair advantage because your body has evolved to basically be like a kind of meat chute, like a log flume. There's like a constant. Stream of
those.
water.
You know when you see scaffolding up the side of houses, and they have that like series of what look like bins that like intersect down into a skip.
Yeah.
That's me. That's essentially me. Food just flies through.
But yeah, raspberry cheesecake. Check
great.
it out.
Check it out.
So on that note, Chris Ray, do you have a love to
I
bring
do.
us?
Yes.
better
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Yay!
So we talked a few weeks ago about our love of documentaries on Netflix.
We did.
We did.
I have discovered, and I didn't really realise it was associated to the television series that has subsequently become very popular, but I watched the original Catfish the other night.
Yeah, the movie that started.
Which I watched, and I assumed it was sort of a follow-on from the series, but it's actually the very first Catfish, where the guy who now presents the show, or has presented the show, was catfished himself.
Yes, that's how it all began.
And that's how the documentary plays out. And I've since then watched quite a few of the Catfishes, and I think it's great. It's very compelling television.
It is actually very compelling television. It's very interesting stuff.
Because that became a verb, didn't it? Like
Yeah, I think they
catfish.
created it. Like the actual documentary explains where that came from and stuff like that. Like the woman who was catfishing the presenter's husband, so her husband, explained about catfish and why catfish were used in the transportation of fish and stuff like that, and that is why it became known as catfishing. So yeah, I didn't realise it was such an old documentary when I watched it, and I went back and I realised it was 2010. And Liz said, "Oh, I think he might actually be the presenter of the television show."
It's very good. It's a really good documentary, actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
all
'Cause
these-
you're trying to predict what's going to happen because you sort of know there's something off, and when you actually get there, more of it is true than I thought.
Yeah,
But there are obviously some untruths in there.
big diffs.
The thing I find weird about all these amazing documentaries, because I've been on a documentary splurge as well, is like so many of them are made by people who weren't documentary makers, who weren't filmmakers, but then something happened in their life and they decided to follow up on it. And I'm worried that maybe like I've missed my opportunity.
I've thought this as well. Like,
Yeah.
because how do you know when to start filming?
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you film now if you could?
Well, right
from your
now, I
past?
don't know, but that's the thing. Like, was there a moment in your life where there?
But there's another
something-
thing as well. Like, what if it turns out to be a dead end? So what if you get an email that's like shocking and controversial and weird in some way, and you're like, oh my god, this is the beginning of something. I'm going to start filming my life every day, and then it's nothing comes of it. Like, how many documentaries are false starts? There must be thousands of them out there.
Yeah, there must be. I always appreciate the amount of work that goes into like a thing you see on screen or something that happens at a professional level that just takes a second on screen or a minute or whatever, and you must think think about how much work has gone into that little bit of time.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it's just an astronomical amount of work, like CGI and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff you'd never even notice, the amount of work that's gone into just making that. I always try and think about that when I'm watching stuff.
Yeah, I'd be terrified if like something really, or the opposite happened, like something really interesting happens to you, but then you're so shit with a camera that you just do a really
You haven't
bad.
captured it properly.
Yeah, you do a really bad job of turning it into something.
Well, we've seen an example of that. That's
Have
Brave
we?
Dave.
Brave
Brave Dave, yeah, what a hero.
What a player.
So Brave Dave had a great concept. He was going to jump onto and ride illegally freight trains across Canada. And he did not do a great job of filming it, to the point that there were several points where the most exciting thing that could have happened, such as him being caught or chased, he forgot to film or the camera wasn't on, and he had to tell us about it afterwards.
Yeah.
Makes for interesting viewing. I wouldn't say compelling viewing.
I think we've mentioned Brave Dave before on this show.
I
but
think we have, yeah.
If you haven't watched it, everyone, go Google Brave Dave, get on YouTube and watch Brave Dave's Big Fat Canadian Freight Hop.
Yeah, this is the example of how not to do a documentary.
And yet at the same time it is powerfully compelling. And
it's great, yeah.
Yeah, you'll end up watching all 2 hours of it. It is astonishing.
You will watch it all, but you'll be watching it all because you'll be hoping something's going to happen. And I'll tell you now, it won't. It doesn't matter that I've told you that, though, because you'll keep watching it. I know you. I know what you're like.
So Catfish, Chris Ray.
Yeah. That's it. That's the
it,
love.
really. That's it.
No?
The show. I've subsequently watched many clips of Catfish from the MTV account.
Indeed.
And they're all fun. It's all good fun just watching what plays out, and there are some happy endings.
Yeah,
it's
there
not
are.
all about
There are,
actually
yeah.
slagging people off and it being explosive television. There are actually some happy endings in it where people actually turn out to be who they said they were all along, and they were just afraid or whatever.
Yeah, or better in a
and
way.
people
Better.
turn up at their house, and it's like, oh, okay, you were actually telling the truth.
I recently found out about a documentary which isn't on Netflix, and it's called
What's the point?
it's called Tickled.
Oh yeah.
And the guy who was describing it said it was one of his favorite movies of like 2017. He said it's also perhaps the most disturbing thing he's ever watched.
Oh no.
There are some very disturbing ones out there now.
Well, apparently the synopsis is it's about a couple of journalists from New Zealand who stumble upon a series of videos online which are apparently about a professional tickling competition.
Oh god.
Oh.
Where it's like you are physically restrained and someone tickles you, and it's how long you can endure it. And
Okay.
apparently
Who's that fun for?
well, guess we'll have to watch the documentary, but that's the whole thing. It's about basically like everyone goes like, oh, this is weird. I mean, you kind of go, haha, this is really funny, isn't it? What a weird thing that people put online. And then as they delved a little deeper into it, they were like, there's a lot of footage of people getting tied up and tickled. And then it just kind of unravels, and apparently it's just one of those things where you're like... And again, that was their moment. They found something really, really weird.
And it led somewhere as well.
Yeah, and ran with it. And apparently it's a really good documentary, just really disturbing.
A lot of them are
Yeah.
though, and that's why they're compelling, I suppose.
I guess so.
Go
Anyway,
on.
I've got love.
Go on, Em.
I love a workman band.
What do we define as a workman band?
I love a band where maybe they had a great song once and you loved it, and then you've not thought about that band in maybe like 20 years, and then you look them up again and you realise they're still going, goddammit.
Okay.
They've never stopped. And they've never maybe like reached that success again. And they're not in the charts, but they've produced like 20 albums. And they've got their own following, and they're still working, but they're just not filling stadiums.
They're putting in the grind.
Yeah. I think that's it. I just realised I have a hell of a lot of respect for bands which are just doing the work, you know,
Can
not
you give
succeeding.
an example?
Yeah, oddly enough, and maybe I'm sure some people will disagree with me. Maybe they are quite popular, but Electric Six.
Okay. Yeah.
I found myself thinking about Electric Six the other day. I think I heard Danger, High Voltage, and I was like, my God, I haven't listened to that song in ages.
What are they up to?
Well, that's the thing. I opened them up on Spotify. I gave, and I started listening to them again. And I was like, you know what? They've got some absolute bangers, like some amazing tracks.
Definitely.
They've also got a lot of like kind of average tracks and a lot of stuff which like is just all right, but they're still going. It was like 2004, I think, when Danger High Voltage came out.
Right.
And you don't hear about Electric Six like every day. You don't go like, oh, their latest single, it's climbing to number 5 in the charts or something. It's like, no, they're just out there putting in the work. And I guarantee if you saw like Electric Six were headlining like a local concert or something, not Glastonbury, just like there's a few thousand people there and Electric Six are playing, I guarantee you'd have an amazing night. Like, I reckon they would just be absolutely banging, like absolutely incredible. And yet, they're never going to be the greatest band in the world.
Yeah.
I guess. I just have so much respect for people who can just keep kind of going.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a band, I used to go to the Minehead Real Ale Festival, which sadly doesn't run anymore. And there was a band who had been going for 75 years.
Bloody hell.
Just they were like a local band.
Jeez.
And it was just these old blokes playing brass instruments. They were really good.
Heroes of music.
But it's just a local band, and they've just done it because they love doing it.
Wait, so they've been going for 75 years?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Wait, when did they join?
I
Like
don't
in
know.
the crib?
Some people must have died, obviously, but
Oh,
Like
I
Sugar
see, yeah. So
but
like,
there was a founder member there, like playing the drums or whatever. But
okay.
yeah.
Sorry, I thought it was still the original band members. I thought they must have been absolutely ancient.
I think there was at least one original band member, but yeah.
Well, I guess come to think of it, 75 is no age anymore, isn't it? Is it? Like, you're not really old until you're 85.
Depends when they started. They might have started when they were 5.
Yeah.
They were just terrible for like 50
Bashing
years,
on
and then the
things.
last 25, they've got their act together.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Anyway, that's my love. Short and sweet.
That's good, I like it.
Wonderful.
Mine can be short and sweet as well. I love the movie Barbarella.
Oh.
Oh,
I've never watched that
interesting.
movie.
I've never seen
So-
it.
I haven't
Never
seen
seen
it
it.
all yet, but I don't need to see it all to know that it's fucking amazing. It's kind of bullshit in the sense that it's like, I have no idea what is happening, why anyone is doing anything that they're doing. But what I love about it is it's a complete commitment to let's just do this now as a method of storytelling or filmmaking. It's like,
Oh, you mean moment by moment? Like,
yeah, like it's almost like they didn't plan anything and they just worked with what they had. And like, so the first scene is Barbarella in her ship, and it's the opening credits, and I think it's about 15 minutes long, and it's just her getting all of her clothes off. They just managed to make that last for ages, right? And then it turns out we see the interior of her ship, and it's furry. The inside of her ship is completely lined with fur. I don't know why. There's a computer that talks to her. The computer is just a series of flapping mirror panels on the wall. It doesn't really flap in time with the voice, but that's fine. And then she's going somewhere, but it's not really that clear where she's going. And she crashes on an ice planet. And she's kidnapped by some twins, little children, who put her on a sled that's pulled by a squid, but that slides across the surface of the ice. And they take her to a ruined ship. And they tie her to a pole in the ship. And then a load of seemingly sentient ventriloquist dummies with sharpened teeth sort of advance on her very slowly and bite and scratch at her a bit. And do you see what I mean? Like, I'm just saying things. Things are just happening, right? And then a man...
Yeah, you could have made that up. I don't know if that's true or
Yeah,
not.
And then
have
a
no
man
idea,
appears, and he's in a full furry suit. Like, he looks like Chewbacca, but without a face, right? And then he grabs her and puts her on this sled that kind of looks like a bike, but also kind of looks like a shed. Like
Right.
a wooden bike shed. And he takes his mask off, and he's a human man, and he manages to make a case for sleeping with Barbarella, and she just agrees to this because, why not? He's a strange man, probably an alien on another world. And then I, at that point, made the joke, I bet he's going to take his furry suit off, and he's going to be just as hairy underneath. And he was! Like, that was the joke. So he takes this hairy Chewbacca-like suit off, and he's got what looks like a chest wig on underneath. This very, very hairy, matted, sweaty man. And then she meets an angel who's blind, and then she goes to this city of glass and torture, And then she walks into a corridor and there's a balloon in there, and then the balloon pops and there's a person inside, and the person comes out and says, "It's me, the great tyrant." And it's just stuff. It's just bam, bam. It's just these things are going to happen now, and I don't need to tell you why. I don't need to have a reason why. I'm just going to do stuff, and you're going to go, "Wow, I've never seen that before." And it is great. It is every bit as good as I'm describing. It's incredible. Watch it.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, as an IMDb plot synopsis goes, that's quite that's up there.
You couldn't synopsize the plot in any other way other than saying, and then she went here, and then a balloon popped, and then a one-eyed person came out, and then they said go here, and then an angel was blind, and then they flew up into the sky. You could. There's nothing else.
Oh, you've got to.
I know you're a fan of the French comic book artist Mobius.
Indeed, I am.
Does he not employ a similar style to storytelling, where it's
indeed.
like and what the fuck now, and what the fuck now, like
What would be weird to do here? I'll do that. Yes, he does. Yeah. I mean, Barbarella is based on a French comic book, so I mean.
There we go. It's for French.
It's the French again.
That's
Their
it.
relentless,
Surprising nobody. It's for
boundless
French.
creativity that serves no purpose at all. It seems.
No, I've never seen Barbarella.
Well, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can watch it.
I do have that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether you'll get anything out of it. I'm not sure what I'm getting out of it, but I'm enjoying it.
Why does everyone need to get anything out of anything?
That's so true. Yeah, let's just watch Barbarella.
Just do a thing.
Not
It doesn't
question.
matter.
Just have fun.
Yeah.
Just do a thing. It's not important. Well, on that
Yeah.
note, have you wrung all the entertainment out of Barbarella?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched it
think
all
for
yet,
now,
so I
at
need to get
least,
back
yeah.
to it. I need to get
Oh, you
back
haven't
to
even
it.
completed it.
No.
God, that sounded like a 4-hour epic. What you described.
I think it was about 2 hours. What I've seen so far. There's probably another 4 or so hours to go. I think.
Jesus Christ. Well, on that note, gentlemen, we've explored a lot this evening. A lot of complex issues for discussion. What do we feel?
sure.
What do we feel won out? Love or hate?
I feel like hate this time. There's a noise of agreement there.
Why? I guess my opinion is utterly irrelevant.
Null and void.
But no, I probably agree with you. I think hate won. You know,
There you go.
those bloody foxes.
It's that fox wandering
that-
around,
is that-
screaming outside my house.
Man in a fox morph suit.
Well, I say a massive thank you to our listeners. Thank you for all your submissions, and if you're listening and you'd like to join our wonderful community, who apparently all love raspberry cheesecake, do head on over to Facebook, give us a search, join the group.
You can only join it if you like Tesco raspberry cheesecake.
Yeah,
That's the rule. Oh, but we might let you in otherway.
We might. We'll just have to assess it.
We'll have to
case by
review it
case.
on a case by case merit.
That's fine.
So on that note, how are we gonna wrap this up?